And today we're going to go a little bit deeper into a topic that's really important. It's called superhydration. It's really the most important key to pain-free living. So many people are dealing with chronic pain. Let's look at your body. The human body, and they're dealing with this pain because, frankly, they're dehydrated. Here's the human body, okay? Here's my little stick guy, okay? We know I'm not an artist. I'm really impressed with artists, so I'm going to make them a little better. Your body is approximately 75% water, okay? There we go. A little happy face for you. Okay, and you got to understand something. When you're born, at birth, you're at 90% water, and the average senior citizen's at about 55% water. Now think about that. I mean, think how quickly a baby grows, how it recovers, how flexible they are, how soft their skin is. You know, all those things are result because of water. Water is an amazing topic. I mean, the water has, you know, a water molecule has 440,000 information storage panels. The reason you know where your keys are, where your name is, where your address is because of the principles of water. Water is essential to all life. And the thing is, almost all of the top researchers in the world talk about the public is, frankly, chronically dehydrated. Now, what happens when you are chronically, I'm going to write this down, so if you're taking notes, dehydrated. What do you start to feel? Well, what happens, you know, in athletics, we talk about this, just a couple percentage, a 2% change in your hydration levels can have massive effects on the field. In other words, you can lose anywhere between 10 and 30% of your strength. Well, how's that possible? Did the muscles change? Did the fibers change? No. What you need for water is a great electric communicator. In other words, remember when you dove under the pool and you heard the sound, and the sound was louder and traveled faster? That's because electricity or information travels faster in water. And when it comes to your cells, imagine you got all these, you know, billions and billions of cells inside your body. What are they mostly made out of? Water. And if you get a dehydration in there, you start slowing the signals between your cells. Here's a cell, and here's a cell. Now, that signal starts to slow down. So in athletics, we notice that the people start to fatigue, and they start, you know, they swing the bat, they're a little bit slower, or they run a little bit slower. And the people that can, you know, maintain their hydration levels, it appears like they're getting stronger. Basically, they're not slowing down as much as anybody else. And when it comes to healthy aging, that is really the difference. It's getting hydrated. So what do I need to do to stay hydrated, Wade? Well, there's a fellow out there, you can look him up. His name is William Ager. And of course, he wrote about aquaporins. We talked about this earlier. But aquaporins on your cells look kind of like, you know, a chain link fence. So here's your cell, right? And on the outside edge, it looks like a chain link fence. And basically, an aquaporin is a little protein structure that allows water to go inside the cells. So the thing is, what we didn't know is that water needs to have an osmotic pressure that allows it to get inside the cell. Here's the aquaporins. If it doesn't get inside the body. So what you have water outside the cell, which is extracellular fluid, but not inside the cell where you need it in order to make the essential functions. You need water on both sides, but if you have too much on one side and not on the other, then you start to have problems. So the question is how do I optimize hydration for me? So let's talk over here. What are the keys? What are the tricks? What are the tips that you need to do? Number one, water at room temperature is usually a little bit easier to go into. It's like, why do you boil water for tea? The hotter it is, the more it permeates the tea bags, just like warmer water will go into the body a little bit better. Cold water does have some interesting effects. If you take cold water, it burns more calories, so on hot days it can be a cooling aspect, but for in general, water at room temperature is a great one. The next thing is what is the osmotic pressure? So an easy way to add to your water is add a little bit of salt, sea salt or Himalayan salt. That would be the next step. That will make a little bit of minerals in it. Also, you can drop, if you drop our, we talked about these, our vitamins or minerals inside the water with the fulvic acid, that'll also change it. So you can add the Primergen, V and M, we'll call it that. That'll also improve hydration, changes the structure a little bit and allows it to permeate into the cell. So that's an easy way. Just put a few drops in your water. Some people will just put 1 or 2 drops every time they drink the water. Every time. Okay? You decide what's best for you, or put a little piece of salt underneath the tongue, a little grain. Not table salt. That's totally different. You want Himalayan or sea salt. The next level is you want to also make sure that your water is pure. In other words, it doesn't have chlorine, fluoride, or chloramine inside it. Those are the chemical agents they use to kill the bugs in water that will destroy the flora inside your stomach. We talked about that in an early lesson with probiotics. You want to make sure, so you want to at least filter your water. And the thing is, if you use those kind of like the inexpensive filters, like, the Britas and all that sort of stuff, make sure you change them regularly because they build up microorganisms and they can be really bad for you over time. Ideally, you want a high quality filter. The next level would be going to either a spring water, and then ultimately, in my personal opinion, you want to go to ionized water. So there's a lot of conversation about ionized water. I think it's the best way. Basically, what you do with ionized water, you filter the water, and then it goes through an electrolysis generator. And then from there, that changes the water into 2 streams, an acid stream and an alkaline stream. So I always like alkaline, slightly alkaline. I think it's better. There are reasons where you might want an acid water or whatever, but for the most part, alkaline. Ideally, you can add the vitamins and minerals, which will change the structure again, which are a fulvic acid base. So you're going to have a high alkaline water with a fulvic acid base. It's a perfect combo. Check our other video on top of this to know how ionization works. I won't go into the details here, but I am going to add a couple other things. And that is, on our demonstration here, is that if you're 75% water, just figure that out. I'm about 200 pounds. Okay? So that means I'm 150 pounds of water. Okay? So that works out to approximately 70 kilos. And it's 1 liter for every kilo. Okay? So basically, if you look at that, and I'm exercising, for every hour of exercise, 1 liter. I know this is getting kind of messy, so 1 hour of exercise. And of course, in hot climates, you want to get that up. So for athletes, for regular persons, you want to look at somewhere between 3 to 6 liters is your base. People go, what? 3 to 6 liters? Yeah, 3 to 6 liters. So that's about, 2/3 of a gallon to 1.5 gallons for people who are following that methodology. Think about that. That's quite a bit of water. So how do you do that every day? So again, first you want it purified. You can add the salt to it or add the minerals to it. That's going to make it much more absorbable. William Agger and the aquaporins. Number 2, you want to drink an extra liter for every hour that you go at. So by the way, if you're, a 90-pound grandmother, you're here, you're going to be more towards the 3 liters. If you're a 300-pound lineman, frankly, I don't think 6 liters is going to be enough because you start looking at the percentages. A 150-kilo guy, he loses 2% of his water. Well, he's just lost 6 kilograms, right? 6 kgs, that's 6 liters right there. You can lose that easily in playing an afternoon of football. So as an athlete, hydration is key. What you want to do in hydration, you also want to avoid a few things. What are they? Caffeinated beverages. Every time you enter caffeine into the body, it's a dehydrator, so you're going to exhaust some of your water supply. recognize that if you drink a liter of coffee, and it's a lot of coffee, I don't recommend that by any stretch, or even if you drink 1 cup of coffee, you got to figure it's going to be 500 milliliters to 1 liter of water per day for every caffeinated beverage. And that goes the same thing for teas, caffeinated teas. So if you're drinking caffeinated tea, try and switch to herbal teas instead, okay? The other things that will really kill you, soda, sports drinks. These are some real pet peeves of mine. They're marketed to kids. People think they're good. They're very addictive. Get these out of your life. They do not hydrate you very well. In fact, in a lot of cases, they do the opposite. They also make your body far more acidic than it needs to be. That means you need more connective tissue, some of those minerals we talked about, that bicarbonate buffers, to buffer that. Getting your hydration down, what do you need to do? You need to carry a bottle with you all the time. I carry a bottle with me all the time. You can see it, right? Glass containers. What I find is to consume water, the more narrow the bottle is, the harder it is to drink. With this one, you see it's got a little coloring here. I love mason jars. Most of my friends in the health industry, we all drink out of mason jars. I don't know why. But it's glass. It's got a wide lip, so it's very easy. Sometimes when you start out, it's good to just put out all the water a day. And when you first start out, oftentimes it's really hard to kind of get the amount in, but you start building up, and you follow the process. You want, a liter before breakfast, a liter in the afternoon, and a liter before dinner. You've got 3 liters then, and you can sip at it. And what we find is the more that you drink, the more that you enjoy. The other thing that I would avoid is plastic bottles. That's another thing to avoid. Do not drink your water out of plastic bottles. If you do, make sure it's a BPA-free plastic bottles. There's no plastics leaching in there. If you want to find out about that, watch that video, The Disappearing Male. And be sure to go to the hydration video where I really break down the different types of water and why we feel that ionized water is the way to go, and it's the way of the future. So I hope you enjoyed this. I know hydration is such a big topic. The reason is, if you're not getting these communications inside your body, if you're dehydrated, the potential for pain, arthritic conditions, all the inflammations, itises, that's largely related to dehydration. Check out Faradun Batman-Gallage's book called You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty. Medical doctor, he wrote all this information showing about the effects of dehydration and how to correct it through hydration. And be sure to check that video with you that I'm going to do the demonstration and actually show this to you in a visual format. So hydration, I can't talk about this enough. We could probably have a conversation. I give lectures on this all around the world, and it takes several hours to go through the whole thing because there's so many questions. But feel free to post in the BiOptimizers website, because that'll allow you to kind of interact and see what's going on and all the possibilities around it. So I hope that was helpful. Make sure you're drinking your water every day, and we'll see you on the next lesson.